This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
War Eagle, and welcome to Ever to Podcast, our somewhat regular get-together in audio format here at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn experience, which is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it is, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today on episode 35 of Ever to Podcast. Today's date is July 2nd, 2025. Moving on into the month of July. I hope you guys are enjoying that hot summer already. My name's Kyle, is your host as always. Let's get into the latest Auburn news, scuttlebutt discussions that are out there, get you caught up on the Auburn experience here today. We're going to cover some scheduling news. We'll also talk a little bit about a commitment and an opportunity for you to see an Auburn basketball player, a former Auburn basketball player, in a professional setting, and anything else that we might have time to get into today. Let's start right there with the very first thing. I'm going to start with basketball first because I'm really excited about this particular thing. I've been waiting for a long time for more Auburn basketball, men's and women's scheduling news, and we're starting to finally get some of that to creep out because those schedules usually start being brought together fully. Some people are already releasing their non-conference schedules at the bare minimum, their complete non-conference schedules, and not that Auburn's behind in that sense. We already know a lot of what's there, but now we have some more concrete things to talk about. So here's the schedule news for Auburn men's basketball. We have known for a while that they are going to participate in what's called the Players Era. I don't know if you call it a tournament or a showcase or whatever, but it's known as Players Era, if I can say that, out in Las Vegas. They actually were supposed to be in the Bahamas for the Bahamas Invitational this year, and they switched over and were invited to this. Obviously, as one of the premier basketball programs in all of the country, you want to be over there where all of the main teams are going to be playing, and it's at Players Era. So for the very first time, I think, or actually, this isn't the first time this is happening, but maybe the first time for Auburn. But we knew some of the names that were going to be there. We knew that Auburn was going to be there. We just didn't know who Auburn was going to play. Well, now we do know that. So keep in mind, folks, this is going to be also an incredible week for Auburn sports. What this kind of follows, it's the week of Thanksgiving. Here's how it's going to start with this schedule update for Auburn men's basketball. Auburn versus Oregon, Monday, November 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So what a way to kick off your official Thanksgiving week on a Monday with that incredible matchup. Oregon has been a team in basketball that certainly has been of some prominence. So that's a great way to kick it off. And, you know, there's been some interesting dynamics between Auburn and Oregon and other sports, obviously football. So it'd be nice to continue to see that build and grow with a team that you don't really cross paths all that much, so being literally across the country from each other. So that's Monday. Now on Tuesday in the Players Era tournament, whatever you want to call it, Auburn will be playing a familiar foe of last year. They will play the Michigan Wolverines again. A rematch of the Sweet 16, Tuesday, November 25th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Tigers and the Wolverines get another crack at each other, albeit Auburn with a completely different team, and I would imagine Michigan will look a little bit different as well. But this will be fun to do this, not even a year after that matchup happened in the Sweet 16 and how fun that was. So that's another great matchup for Auburn in Players Era that they will be a part of. Get excited about this one, folks. This schedule is shaping up to be just about as competitive and difficult as last year's, if not completely as difficult, or maybe even a little bit more when the full picture is put together. And then we look at having to play in the SEC again this year. Obviously, you could once again make the case, is this the most difficult schedule? Oregon and Michigan have now been added to that officially. So that is a really great thing. Excited for that Players Era tournament is what I'm calling it out in Las Vegas. So that's your scheduling news. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting news and more so on the transfer portal side of things. Now, I think this is a bit of news that probably most people didn't make a big deal about, obviously, because there's a little bit of tumultuousness with some decommits and recruiting right now. Once again, folks, if you're obsessing about the decision-making process of 17, 18-year-old boys, you need to stop and just let things play out how they're going to be. But we are going to celebrate and talk about when people commit, even when it's just in the transfer portal. And albeit this is a really late one. We're going to be doing a video on YouTube with a little bit more information about him talking about this. But I want to at least give you an acknowledgement that this happened, that you need to be aware of it, because this is a transfer portal for 2025, literally months away, not even months away from playing, a month and a half away from playing, and this guy is joining the team. Defensive back is coming in from Texas A&M. We are, of course, talking about someone that's familiar to DJ Durkin, Jacoby Matthews, formerly of Texas A&M. DJ Durkin knows him. Obviously, we've seen that happen before with DJ, bringing in people from Texas A&M or up from the Northeast area. He's got a lot of connections there. So the ones he's brought over previously have contributed very well. So I have strong feelings that this one will work out as well, whether it means about depth piece, starting, having SEC experience is a big thing. Certainly, there are some things within his story about that we talk a little bit more about on things like our videos, but obviously, anytime you can add someone with SEC experience to your roster this late in the game, this late in the process is a big thing. Now, the question is, will he be ready to go? He's not getting there much later than a lot of the other players did this summer, but he certainly will be behind in terms of trying to figure out playbooks, and I'm sure academics have got to get figured out and all that kind of stuff. But that was a bit of news that dropped yesterday amongst all of the other recruiting news and drama that continues to circulate around right now. The 2025 squad just got a little bit of extra help with an SEC experience flair. This is an opportunity for you to see one of your Auburn Tigers in a professional setting in a much easier fashion. This is what we're talking about next. And I wasn't aware that this was a thing that happened in the NBA. I wasn't aware that this is a thing that was even a possibility. But according to a post that I saw from Birmingham Sports, they have confirmed that the NBA will be in Birmingham on October 14th, 7 p.m. at Legacy Arena. It will be the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Houston Rockets. And so you know what that means. Jabari Smith is coming back to our neck of the woods. Now, certainly, I'm sure they played in Atlanta. Some would say that them playing in New Orleans is close enough for some of the Auburn faithful or some of the Florida teams. But this is the NBA coming to Alabama. We have no professional sports here, so you have very limited opportunities to go and see in action your former Tigers. Jabari Smith, who just secured one of the most lucrative deals, I believe is what they described it as, for a coming out of a rookie contract situation in quite some time. Having that extension, that kind of shows you how excited they are about him. This means that you're going to get to see him. Kevin Durant is obviously part of the team and teammates with Jabari now, so that'll be exciting. Folks, this is a really big opportunity. So if you want to go see Jabari Smith again, relive some of those glory days with seeing him, and I'm sure he would love to see all the orange and blue out there in the stands, making him so excited to be back in something that he's familiar with. He obviously still cares so much about Auburn, the Auburn family, and has tried to stay connected with it, getting involved with War Ready and things like that, posting on social media. So if you live in Birmingham or that area, do try to go out and support him and go to that NBA matchup, Houston versus the Pelicans. But mainly, we're there for Jabari Smith. Real quick note, I know a lot of you are still excited about the Nike news. Yesterday, we did do a live stream with Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database, talking about everything you need to know, big questions, topics around that, things that did and didn't happen. I would highly recommend you go watch that. Today, they are starting to unveil some of the uniforms officially. You saw soccer already today by the time I've recorded that. I am sure that there will be more coming out over the next days or so. So be looking for that. Auburn soccer. If you want a preview of what the Nike era is going to look like with Auburn uniforms, it started yesterday, really, but it started today as well. I know so many of you are excited about that, and I understand why. But certainly we've got lots of content coming out around Auburn and Nike. Check out auburnuniforms.com/Nike2 for Clint Richardson and his resources on that stuff. That's going to do it for this episode of Ever to Podcast, episode 35. Thanks for catching up with us with all the Auburn news. As always, we want to hear from you. e2cnetwork@gmail.com. Drop us a line there or on direct messages on social media if you want to ask a question, bring up a topic to have here on Ever to Podcast. And even we'd love to invite you tonight, if you're listening to this on Wednesday when it is coming out. Every Wednesday night, we do Auburn Family Night, a live call-in show at 9 Eastern Time on YouTube. We would love to see you there participating in the chat or even calling in tonight. You could always catch the replay as well. But it's always fun, live too. Thanks for hanging out today. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.